Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for April 22nd, 23rd, 2020. How are you doing? Well, today is a new moon in Taurus. Very powerful energy ushering us over into a new paradigm. Everything that's happening in the world, in this manifest world, in this play of events on our planet right now, has to do with this one thing that we cannot continue to live in this relationship to the earth. We cannot continue to live in the lies and delusions of the past age. And we cannot continue to live as slaves kept on this planet, as our relationship to each other and this planet have gotten to such ill health. So this new moon is the reason why it's so powerful is because it's happening very close to Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus in Taurus, the Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, is speaking about new energy, frequency vibrations, higher octave, whole new paradigm energy as we try to move into the Aquarian age here. And so this new moon has everything to do with that. And how beautiful that it happens on New Earth Day. So it's like New Earth Day. And speaking to how do we do this? How do we create this new paradigm? And as much as there is so much confusion right now, there's so much hardship in our world, there's so much fear and anxiety. Everything that's happening is symptoms of the bigger, wider play of events, which is these new frequency vibrations trying to come in. Now, Taurus has an energy of, it's around our resources. So traditionally in astrology, that's associated with money. And Uranus and Taurus is about infusing new vibrations. Uranus is a disruptor. It's called the awakener. So Taurus is an earth sign. It's a fixed earth sign. So it's about structures in the physical that have to do with our resources that are fixed, right? So we're definitely looking at our financial structures, and this current situation is, excuse me, bringing to the surface the issues in all of our structures, because Uranus and Taurus by itself, but then we've got Pluto in Capricorn coming together with Saturn in January, Jupiter for these months. Now Jupiter and Pluto have separated out 2 degrees apart. So we're kind of getting a little breather from that energy, although they do stay together into August, rather close in the orb of this conjunction. So we are in it right now. This chapter is about that. And Pluto in Capricorn is about a complete death and rebirth of the structures of our world. And so when we look at the bigger picture of what's going on, that can help us understand why we're going through what we're going through. There is so much being revealed to us right now if we're willing and able to look and listen, and a mass awakening happening on the planet. Because how can we move out of being a slave planet if we don't know that we're being kept as slaves? And this whole lower paradigm matrix is being fueled by our own energy. Uranus and Taurus is coming in with a disruptive energy towards these systems, a disruptive energy to what's fixed in our life. And so maybe this is part of what's going on, because the Taurus energy is like wanting to find stability, like a fixed earth, a structure that you can really trust. And right now, in just a few weeks, everything that we could trust around our survival and having what we need, which that's the energy of Taurus, has been challenged. And so when you look at it astrologically, it makes a lot more sense. And so with Uranus and Taurus, we're looking at resets, changes in a fundamental way that we do things around resources and money. Now, when we're talking resources, we also have to look at our inner resources, right? Because the physical resources of this world, as much as we're talking an earth sign and everything, we know we don't get to take those with us, right? When we pass from this world. And what we do take with us is our soul spiritual gifts. And this is our actual resources, right? And so it's interesting that we're having this whole weird pause in our lives. And I think that that could be really good medicine if, individually we can get out of the confusion, the fear, the frustration of like kind of feeling like, what am I supposed to do in this situation? How do I help? How do I, what, what is my role here? And we've talked about our role being stepping over that threshold into a new paradigm. And that's the huge energy of today for sure, bringing together our energy, validating this new paradigm, allowing our vibration to be there. It's getting easier and easier with these last few days. When the sun moved into Taurus, we're definitely like, there's huge shifting going on that's supporting this new vibrational frequency. But there's another thing coming through here around creativity and passion, and that like that energy of like something you really love and makes you feel like, oh, on fire. That's medicine for this time. If you have space in your life right now, that is really an important thing to find, this energy of passion and creativity. Because when you're in this space of a creative project and you're like, oh, and you get so into it, you lose your sense of time. You're so present in the moment, and you're just kind of like, just that's like when you have access to life force and creativity, God force. And so that feels like really important medicine right now. If we can, we've been talking about moving to higher frequency vibrations, but maybe that's a tool and an awareness that can be helpful, because our passions, what makes us feel alive, what really gets us going and turns us on, that is the medicine for this new age. That has to do with our inner gifts and resources, right? So our inner gifts and resources are not what we went to school for typically. We don't need a whole bunch of degrees and stuff. That's like we've learned these things over many lifetimes, right? But they're inside of us, and they've been invalidated, right? So it's like time to awaken. Maybe it's like this awakening of the new earth is also awakening our creativity and our ability to give ourselves permission to be in that energy. And if you have space in your life right now because of this current situation, that's how you should be using your time. Of course, meditation, being present, allowing yourself to do the self-care to be able to move into these new energies. But I'm getting that there's a powerful energy around permission for those higher frequency vibrations. It's almost like you can go in the back door by getting really in, just finding something, a project, something that really makes you feel like, yeah, I love this. Like the juicy creative flow is really good medicine right now, because this attack on us right now is attack on our life force, an attack on our ability to heal ourselves, our ability to be sovereign, our ability to work and make money to take care of ourselves, right? And the technological attack is about going directly for our oxygen and life force. And I just kind of got that picture of like, whoa, like the best way, it kind of seems ironic, like the best way potentially to get yourself back tapped into your permission for this life force is through creativity. And so that's something to keep in mind for these days, and a really great day for New Earth Day. New moon is always a fresh new start. And so it's a really great opportunity to put things like that into practice. And also, it's like, instead of just trying to meditate your vibration up, doing an activity that really connects you, maybe the gardening and cooking, and, creativity can be in lots of different ways, and it can be the art or the craft, but it can also be just the simple things of living and rearranging your house or whatever, but getting that energy going seems like really good medicine, and like exercising our right, our birthright to access this energy, right? Because this energy, of course, the lower matrix, the control energy, the financial control we've been under, doesn't leave time for that. right? And so it's like we're all stressed all the time, just trying to do daily life and make our money and pay our bills. And it's like, whoa, that's one of the beautiful things. See, part of what's going on, I've talked about a lot, but like in this time, is we're in this strange, like fourth dimensional energy, which is like a hall of mirrors, where what you think happens immediately. So it's like whatever is bad also is good, and whatever's good, it's kind of like a boomerang type energy going on. So everything that's happening to us that's around this control energy and the attack on humanity and the bloom of this exposure of the darker agendas, like there's this huge boomerang thing happening where there's like this positive benefit, right? Because we're moving into this portal where all these timelines are coming together and nested. Whereas for a while it was weird because it was like, okay, that person seems to be on another planet. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but we're kind of existing in our own timelines. And then what's happening right now is we're being pulled all together into this portal and these nested timelines, right? And so it's really weird because there's some dark, dark stuff playing out in our world that doesn't fit our vibration. And yet it's all about moving through this portal together. And maybe trying to take as many souls with us in this journey. And so when we go through this portal, it's like everything that's negative that's being done to us has an immediate positive. Where I was talking about when this first happened, I had hints of this where, in the old paradigm, it'd be like something would happen to you and I'd be like, oh, this really sucks. This is bad. This is horrible. There's, like, why did this happen to me? What's going on? And then maybe 10 years later, you're like, oh, that was actually a really positive thing, right? And it's all together, right? It's like homeopathy, like there's both sides of the story, this cure trying to happen and a boomerang where something happens like what's going on in the world right now, and there's a lot of negative, right? Like, oh my gosh, huge paradigm to agenda to depopulate and control and take our freedoms and mass vaccination and agenda, and it's like, but it's all boomeranging into consciousness, light, creativity, potential, taking our world back, like exposing in one fell swoop all of these broken systems. So it turns out our tax dollars supported the creation of this bioweapon. That's what's coming out in the news right now, you know? And it's like, oh, really? Our resources have been being used to create evil. Our energy has been used to hold this lower paradigm. And that's what we talked about yesterday. Like, we got to take back our energy for ourselves and stop feeding the monster. And that when you're doing that, when you feel good, when you feel better, you feel light and free, our crown chakra activation. And as much as there's all this crazy heavy energy just on the other side, we talked about this crazy heavy energy is a bloom, as a symptom of this deeper cause, which is spiritual awakening. And everything that's happening right now, positive or negative, good or bad, is going towards this divine timeline trying to land. So can you exercise that in your life? You're right. Or this truth, this bigger, wider truth, and maybe using that creative energy, because it's hard to shut off this garbage, right? You can go for a little while and then it's like there's more people in hazmat suits and masks and, death count and body bags and you know what I mean? It's just like, it's very heavy out there. You got to watch what you expose yourself to right now. But by focusing your energy on that creativity, and like claiming that with your will force right now, that feels like a really good energy for now. Now, it's interesting that so we've had the sun in square to Saturn, right? It's still happening. And then this new moon happens in about 12 hours or so, less than that. And then in the next couple of days, the sun will be going over Uranus. So that happens exact on Friday. And so let me just see here. Sorry. So actually this weekend, the sun and Uranus coming together. And so this whole next period of time is about this. The sun is who we think we are, our light, our truth, our ability and permission to shine and express ourselves creatively, the ruler of Leo. And then coming up with Uranus, it's just like this vibrational upgrade because of everything we've been going through, and the new moon and the new start, and awakening these creative energies. And that new moon in Uranus and Sun Uranus conjunction is this awakening to who we really are, right? So when these outer planets, they do their thing, right? But we don't really feel them until our personal planets come into relationship. So the sun, Uranus, right after this new moon, is incredibly potent and powerful energy for us. And it's saying the spiritual awakening that's been happening way out there in the cosmos is landing home right here in your everyday life. And maybe that's this like, it's not a time for complacency or in our vibration, and just allowing these energies to bowl us over. We've got to enact our will, which is a lot of that Leo energy, and claim a hold of our life force, right? And claim a hold of our passion and what the fuel of our world, right? And it's interesting, oil prices totally dropping and this whole thing, right? And it's like, yeah, that's not our fuel. That's not our fuel. This is our fuel, life force. This is the commodity that is what everybody wants. We talked about how there's this bloom of narcissistic energies and how these empaths and narcissists working through this over the last years. It's been so on the table, showing you where you're feeding the darkness through relationship. And all of us being asked to contain that energy, bring it back home, get on your throne, get on your Leo throne and operate from that place and pulling all your energy back. And it looks like the medicine for that, how you do it, has to do with accessing this creative expression right now. And then Uranus in the sun, also speaking to Taurus, ruled by Venus, has a lot to do with our self-worth, what we care about, what makes us feel good. And so Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and Aries is like the seed and the spark of creation and the beginning, right, of new life. Taurus is like everything from the sprout of the seed to a fully formed plant. It's everything you need to survive here. And that's what's on the table for us right now, right? They're like, oh, we're just going to come take that away from you. Oh, you didn't even notice. We've been planning this for years. And now we're just going to take your livelihood. Oh, and your basic human rights. Oh, and your oxygen and your spiritual psychic autonomy, and just microchip you right into the into the grid we want you to be in, right? It's almost a war between these grids, because we are part of our spiritual evolution is coming into connection with each other, this oneness consciousness. And that's a very spiritual connection where you still have your spiritual autonomy, as an individual. But you can feel this, like there's this collective energy as we connect on these levels where synchronicities and these ideas are coming through different people at the same time. And we're working in this really cool energy that is organic, spiritual grid, right? And the Christ consciousness spiritual grid. And it's like a race against time, and they're trying to get us into the lower psychological grid, And so that's an interesting picture. But this Uranus and Taurus is speaking to like our self-worth, a radical shift in our self-worth. Do you deserve these new energies? Are you worth it, humanity? Or are you going to stay as slaves and scum of the earth the way they want to think us to think, sheep, that are controlled and controllable? It's like they call us feeders, these dimensional energies that, that are like, so the energies of control ultimately are like fourth, fifth dimensional beings working with AI as a god, right? Like artificial intelligence kind of god. And they make fun of us and call us feeders. And like, we have to eat and, you know, and it's like, but actually there's so many souls on the planet, and this is you guys, that are super higher dimensional from that came here to be a part of this and hold space and move us through this dimensional shift. And so it's like, we've got to, and it's like they're calling us bottom feeders. And yet we're the source of their whole paradigm. If we get happy for one day, if we all had joy, which I think this is the boomerang of the situation, when we can come back together and hug each other and love each other and get the truth of what's really going on, that like, and that it's really nothing to fear right now about connection and this like love of human connection and coming back into that. There's this bloom of joy, this boomerang on the planet that I think is going to be a big game changer for these negative energies, because they feed on our despair, on our pain, on our trauma, on our lower vibrational energies, right? And that's how, ironically, we get out of the matrix and we stop feeding the monsters, we stop feeding the feeders. But they're calling us the feeders, and we're actually the food source for their whole agenda. And that's what humanity is being shown right now. And it's like we can't go forward until humanity understands that it's been giving its power over to this lower paradigm. And I think most of humanity would be like, what? If they really understood the truth right here, right now, of this global control and agenda, they're not on board with that, right? Like, and so this is how we wake up, apparently, and you apparently are here to stop the feeding, claim your own life force, your energy. This is your spiritual gift you've worked on for many lifetimes. Claim your potential for that. Claim your this love that's in your heart and step over that threshold into this new paradigm. And perhaps part of the medicine for that is this getting really active in a creative project as a way to say to the universe that you're ready and willing to be an operator and a controller of your own life force. We have the greatest commodity within us. Maybe this is the ultimate mystery of this Uranus and Taurus, is that we are the commodity. We have, if you have these souls that are not as susceptible to the mind control, are not susceptible to the narcissistic tendencies, it's like you have a hot commodity, because you have an access to your own source, to your own life force. And that's why you've been under such attack. That's why you've had these control-based relationships or handlers, psychological handlers, to keep you in the lower vibration, to feed on you, keep you sucked dry, keep you in the abuse, because you have got it. And then it's interesting because we cut off those feeder energies and then we feel lost and alone. That's just part of it, right? And it's like, why don't we have permission? Maybe this is this mystery of Uranus and Taurus. Why don't we have permission for this life force for ourselves? Why can't we just go enjoy our relationship to our energy, the earth, life force, love, cosmic truth of who we are? Why do we feel that we need to feed lower energies in order to feel validated enough to have this energy for ourselves, right? And so this is the deeper mysteries of this time, our permission to be worthy for our very own life force energy. And for you souls, it's like you've gone through a heck of a lot to be here right now. And I know I've seen this lifetime picture after lifetime picture of what you guys have gone through, and to be here right now. And it's like you went through whole evolutions and spiritual ascension numerous times before you ever came to Earth. And then you got your ass kicked, and it's like, okay, just, it's like lucky just to be here breathing, but that is enough too, right? And then what happens when you step over from the feeding and the low self-worth and the can't get my shit together here in this earth realm, and then step over into being the star that you are, into being like, oh, I have everything that this world needs right now. And no wonder it was attacked, right? And owning that for yourself. So a lot of this Taurus energy is going back into the, creating this temple, sacred space that you're saying to the universe, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to give this energy to lower life forms, lower energies. I'm not going to feed that anymore, and that's how you show that you're worthy. That's how you claim it. And maybe that getting lost in a creative project can go through the back door and get you tapped into that energy of joy and fun and play, of what we are being asked to do right now, to step back into the garden. And that's the huge energy of this new Earth Day. So let's hold hands. And I'm seeing this like daisy chain, just like holding hands and like Red Rover. We're going to just step over together into this new paradigm, into this new fully embracing and owning for ourselves the light that we are, and being present with that as when we're true to ourselves and take a hold of this energy, hold it sacred. And that is our role that we're playing to get this show on the road, right? This new paradigm. And so I hope you can join me for that Taurus new moon activation. It's tonight at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. And like I said, it's encoded. The energy is encoded, so you can catch the replay. It's $10. And even if you can't join and you want to be a part of the energy, just your intention can receive this activation. It's for everyone. But I hope I can see you there on that call or tomorrow's update. And also keep an eye out. I'll link it below. Oh, I did link it in the information box, but a little new Earth Day present. I finally got my Tiaga mushroom, red banded polypore, red banded conch mushroom meditation completed and uploaded. And so that's a beautiful new Earth Day energy for us, because it really came to be around this mushroom is inviting us into a deeper relationship with our earth, and kind of coming home into the arms of the mother, that she's here for us. All the medicine we need, even for the future technologies, and for what we're dealing with, is still provided by our earth. And so coming back into the loving arms, that connection, big part of the energy that can allow us to find a new level of stability in this new paradigm, because the earth is shifting her vibration too, right? So when we're connected with the earth, we're going together, and she can help us find stability in new energies, which is this Saturn in Aquarius, like, where's the ground under my feet? What am I doing? How do I build with this in this invisible? But this is the thing, it's like, you know these things. You have this wisdom within you. That's why you're here. And that's why it's been so hard for you in Earth evolution. Let everything that's happened to you validate who you are. And like, claim that self-worth and permission to embody these higher frequency vibrations, because it's time. And so much easier when we do it together. So I look forward to seeing you for that new moon activation or tomorrow's update on the mushroom meditation. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.